Alright, so today we're diving into 30 awesome linear games that are perfect to play when you're bored. Open world adventures are cool, but sometimes you just want a straightforward, well-crafted journey with zero distractions. So let's jump right in. Let's start with Children of the Sun, a game that doesn't waste your time with filler. It throws you into situations where every single move matters, and the entire flow feels like one big puzzle disguised as action. What makes it stand out is how you're not just reacting, but planning ahead, lining things up so perfectly that when it clicks, it feels insanely satisfying. The style is eerie but strangely beautiful, and the rhythm keeps you hooked because it constantly demands precision. There's no fat here, just tight, clever design that knows exactly what it's doing and makes you want to try just one more run again and again. Next we have Inside, and honestly it's one of those games where silence speaks louder than words. It's dark, minimal, and every step feels intentional, like the developers planned exactly how you should feel without saying a thing. You're moving forward, solving, dodging, surviving, but it's the atmosphere that does the heavy lifting. The world feels oppressive yet inviting in a way that makes you want to keep pushing, even when things get downright unsettling. The clever part is how it constantly surprises you without ever breaking its flow. It's not loud, not flashy, but unforgettable because of how seamlessly it pulls you along. Now let's talk about Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. This one feels like pure adventure, bottled up and served in a way that respects old school linear game design. You're not bogged down with side quests or distractions. It's all about forward momentum, and that's exactly what makes it so fun. The pacing flows like a movie, with each section adding tension, puzzles, and moments where you feel like you're actually part of something bigger. It has that polished cinematic feel where you just want to keep going because every chapter pushes you straight into the next high-stakes moment without ever overstaying its welcome.
Tells me these guys aren't friendly.
Next up is Gylt, a game that blends atmosphere with simplicity in a way that just works. It's spooky, it's unsettling, but it never relies on cheap tricks to keep you engaged. Instead, the design makes you focus on the environment, the way paths unfold, and how the tension builds as you keep moving forward. The cool thing here is how it balances being eerie while still being approachable. It's not trying to destroy your nerves, but rather immerse you in a haunting journey that sticks with you. Every section feels handcrafted to pull you deeper without letting you wander off the path. And next we have Bright Memory Infinite, which feels like pure adrenaline injected straight into a compact experience. It's flashy, chaotic, and absolutely relentless in how it throws action your way. The best part? It never drags. Instead of stretching itself thin, it stays short and sharp, giving you insane combat sequences, smooth swordplay, and visuals that are just ridiculously good for a game of this size. It's like one long highlight reel where every fight feels epic and every moment keeps your hands busy. No filler, no waiting around, just a tight, explosive ride from start to finish. Next is Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, a game that takes simplicity and twists it into something surprisingly clever. The entire experience feels like it was designed to challenge not just your reflexes, but how you think about control itself. It's short, sure, but every moment feels like it carries emotional weight, with puzzles that blend seamlessly into the journey. What's special here isn't about difficulty, but about how natural everything feels as you keep progressing. It's smooth, direct, and the way it builds momentum keeps you locked in until you reach the kind of ending that lingers long after. Next we have Clair Obscur, Expedition 33, which already feels like something that's going to grab people who love narrative-driven journeys. This one leans into atmosphere and drama with heavy cinematic layers that make each moment feel significant. The best part about a linear design like this is how it eliminates the noise. You're always moving toward the next beat of the story, the next intense scene, the next revelation. It's sleek, sharp, and clearly designed to keep you from drifting off into side distractions. Sometimes all you want is a guided experience that feels polished, and this delivers exactly that.
A storm is coming.
Now let's talk about Control, a game that looks clean on the surface but hides absolute madness under its skin. The setting itself is enough to pull you in, but what really makes it fun is how it constantly evolves without breaking the flow of progression. It doesn't overwhelm you with unnecessary detours. Instead, it focuses on giving you strange, memorable encounters while steadily cranking up the intensity. Every section feels deliberately crafted to surprise you, whether through sheer weirdness or sharp design. That balance between structure and unpredictability makes it one of those linear games that just keeps giving. Next up is Little Nightmares 2, a creepy but brilliantly structured experience that thrives on tension. It has this way of making even the smallest spaces feel massive just by how unsettling everything looks and sounds. The pacing is spot on, quiet moments that suddenly escalate into full-blown chases, puzzles that are simple but satisfying, and visuals that make you want to both stare and look away at the same time. The linear path works perfectly because it doesn't waste time. It guides you through one striking set piece after another, each one more disturbing and memorable than the last. And next we have one of my favorite games, Mirror's Edge, a game that nailed the idea of flow before most games even tried. It's all about momentum, rhythm, and the satisfaction of stringing together movement without breaking stride. What's refreshing here is how lean it is. There's no padding, no endless wandering, just pure speed and clean design. The city feels like a playground designed specifically for the way you move. And once you get into the groove, it becomes almost hypnotic. Every run feels better than the last, and the linear path ensures that the focus always stays sharp and exhilarating. Next is Neva, a game that feels like an emotional journey wrapped in breathtaking visuals. What makes it stand out is how everything flows so naturally. The environments, the pacing, the way the music blends into the world. It's one of those experiences where you don't think about mechanics, you just follow along and let the story carry you. The design is deliberate, almost meditative, giving you space to breathe while still pulling you forward. It never overstays its welcome, and by the time you're done, it feels like you've been through something beautiful, powerful, and unforgettable. Next we have Portal 2, and this one is just timeless. The brilliance here isn't in how complicated it gets, but in how clever it stays throughout. Every puzzle feels like it's teaching you something new, while also making you feel smarter for figuring it out. The pacing is spot on. You're always moving from one creative challenge to the next without ever hitting a dull moment. It's funny, sharp, and incredibly satisfying, with a structure that makes the whole game feel like one long aha moment. This is linear design at its finest, constantly Now let's talk about Prince of Persia, The Forgotten Sands, which nails that classic action-adventure flow. There's something addictive about moving from room to room, tackling platforming challenges and combat sequences that feel tightly crafted. The linear setup keeps things moving at a brisk pace, so there's never any downtime where you're just wandering aimlessly. It's all about timing, rhythm, and that satisfying loop of running, jumping, and striking through obstacles. Every section feels like a set piece designed to test your reflexes while keeping the action flowing smoothly, making it one of those games you can revisit anytime. Next up is Resident Evil 4 Remake, which takes an all-time classic and sharpens it into something even more intense. What makes it work so well is the pacing. Every chapter feels like a carefully designed roller coaster, with moments of tension, action, and relief all balanced perfectly. The linear path means there's no wasted time, just a constant forward drive that keeps you hooked. Enemies are relentless, environments are detailed, and every encounter feels handcrafted to push you just enough without overwhelming you. It's one of those rare games where you finish and immediately want to start again. And then we have A Plague Tale: Innocence, which blends storytelling and gameplay into a focused, cinematic ride. The linear design keeps everything tight, so you're always moving into the next striking location or tense sequence. What makes it memorable is how well it balances quiet moments with bursts of intensity, like you're never stuck doing the same thing for too long. Each section feels like it was built to serve the overall journey, and it builds momentum in a way that keeps you invested from beginning to end. It's polished, purposeful, and one of those games that sticks with you.
I'll give you a hand.
Yes.
And next we have Alan Wake 2, a game that takes atmosphere and dials it up to a whole new level. Everything about it feels deliberate. The pacing, the tension, the way each moment is crafted to keep you pulled deeper in. It's not about rushing through, it's about letting the tone sink in while the game steadily pushes you forward. The linear design keeps things focused, which means the experience stays tight without getting messy. Every chapter feels like a perfectly staged scene, and when you're in it, the mood is so heavy you can almost feel it pressing down on you. Next we have As Dusk Falls, and this one shows just how far interactive storytelling has come. The structure is pure linear design, and that's exactly why it works. Instead of wandering off, you're pulled along with choices that always feel weighty, even when they seem small. The art style sets the tone, but it's the way the story unfolds, steadily, without distractions, that makes it so absorbing. It's simple, but that's the strength. There's no noise to dilute the experience, just a straight path through moments that stick with you because of how naturally they're presented.
Hell no, I wouldn't. I'd run and buy a '64 Pontiac GTO. Prettiest piece of metal you ever saw on four wheels. Ugh. What about you? Now, what would you do if you could keep all this cash?
Now let's talk about Bramble, the Mountain King, a game that feels like a dark fairy tale brought to life. The linear path works perfectly here because it keeps you moving from one surreal, unsettling scenario to the next. The tone shifts constantly. 1 minute it's almost peaceful, the next it's deeply disturbing, but it never loses that sense of wonder. The pacing makes it addictive because you never quite know what the next section is going to throw at you. It's strange, haunting, and designed to keep pulling you deeper until you can't stop. Next up is Ever Forward, which thrives on simplicity and atmosphere. The puzzles are straightforward but layered in a way that makes you feel rewarded for figuring them out. The linear design means you're always nudged toward the next step without getting sidetracked, and that steady momentum gives it a calm but engaging rhythm. It's not flashy or loud. Instead, it pulls you in with its clean presentation and smooth progression. It's the kind of game you can sit down with, lose track of time, and realize you've been absorbed in its flow without even noticing. And then we have Evil West, a game that doesn't waste time trying to reinvent anything, but instead focuses on pure, straightforward fun. The combat is brutal, satisfying, and designed to keep you on your toes without bogging you down with complicated systems. The linear campaign keeps everything moving fast. Fight, move forward, fight again, and it works because there's no wasted space. Every level feels packed with action, and it just flows like an old-school throwback polished up for modern play. It's the kind of game you pick up when you just want non-stop energy. And next is the emotional Gris, a game that feels like stepping into a painting that slowly comes alive as you move through it. What makes it special isn't complexity, but how gracefully it uses simplicity. Every transition feels seamless, like the world is unfolding in perfect rhythm with the way you play. The pacing is gentle but deliberate, always giving you just enough to stay engaged without breaking the calm atmosphere. It's one of those experiences where you can almost forget you're playing a game because everything feels so natural, yet it leaves a lasting impression the moment it ends. Next we have It Takes Two, which is pure creativity from start to finish. The way it constantly reinvents itself is what keeps it so addictive. One moment you're in a completely different style of gameplay, and the next you're doing something new again without losing momentum. There's no padding, no filler. It just keeps pushing forward with fresh ideas stacked one after another. The linear design works perfectly here because it lets the developers control the pace of those surprises, making sure you're never stuck in the same rhythm too long. It's polished, clever, and ridiculously fun throughout. Now let's talk about Journey, a game that proves you don't need complexity to be unforgettable. The path forward is simple, but that's exactly the point. The beauty comes from how smooth the flow feels, like every moment is crafted to guide you without saying a word. The music, the visuals, the progression, all tied together so tightly that it feels effortless. It's not about mechanics or difficulty, it's about atmosphere and movement, and it nails that balance perfectly. You start, you move forward, and before you know it, you've had one of the most memorable gaming experiences out there. Next up is Rise of the Tomb Raider, which feels like a perfect blend of cinematic adventure and tightly designed action. The pacing here is key. It throws you into intense set pieces, then slows down just enough to let you breathe before ramping things up again. The linear design keeps everything sharp, pushing you forward through one big spectacle after another. It's all about flow, climb, fight, escape, explore, all tied together in a way that feels seamless. Nothing drags, nothing feels wasted, and by the end it feels like you've been on one big thrilling ride. And then we have Sifu, which is all about precision and mastery. The linear path works so well here because it forces you to focus on the core of the experience. Tight, punishing combat. There are no distractions, no side paths, just a straight run through challenges that test your skills again and again. The flow of each fight is like a rhythm game hidden under martial arts, where timing and patience matter just as much as reflexes. It's brutal, yes, but it's the kind of game where every run teaches you something new, and that constant push forward is addictive. And next we have Silent Hill 2 Remake, which feels like a masterclass in atmosphere done right. Every area feels drenched in tension, the pacing is steady, and the linear structure makes sure nothing overstays its welcome. The brilliance here is how it balances the sense of dread with progression, constantly pushing you into darker spaces without letting you pause for too long. It's polished in all the right ways, but still manages to feel raw and unsettling. It's the kind of game that reminds you why linear design works so well in horror. It keeps you trapped exactly where it wants you. Next, we have Solar Ash, a game that thrives on speed and style. The way it flows is almost hypnotic. Constant movement, fluid transitions, and environments that feel built to be explored in motion. The linear design works beautifully because it strips away distractions, letting you focus on rhythm and momentum. There's a dreamlike quality to it all, with every encounter blending into the next as if it's one long sequence. It's smooth, fast, and satisfying, the kind of game you can get lost in without realizing just how quickly time flies.
Gotta reach the tail. Should time slip to close the distance.
Now let's talk about Stray, a game that takes a tight, focused path and fills it with detail and atmosphere. The pacing is gentle, but never slow, guiding you through a world that feels alive and layered without ever losing direction. The linear setup makes sure you're always moving toward the next discovery, and it works perfectly because nothing feels wasted. The charm here is in how immersive the environments are, each one crafted to pull you deeper into the journey. It's polished, thoughtful, and surprisingly emotional without ever breaking the steady rhythm of play. Next up is The Last of Us Part 1, which shows just how powerful linear storytelling can be when everything clicks. The flow is seamless. Tense moments, quiet downtime, and explosive action, all stitched together without gaps. The pacing never drags, and every chapter feels carefully designed to push you through a mix of gameplay and narrative without losing focus. It's polished to perfection, with every step leading into the next in a way that feels completely natural. It's not just a story, it's an experience that pulls you along and refuses to let go until the credits roll.
I got you. You ain't going nowhere.
And finally, Uncharted 4, A Thief's End, a game that feels like one giant blockbuster, carefully designed to keep you hooked from start to finish. The pacing is sharp, with set pieces that explode into action, quiet exploration moments that give you space, and dialogue that keeps everything flowing in between. The linear path works perfectly because it keeps the focus tight. No wandering, just a steady climb through bigger and bigger moments. It's polished, cinematic, and feels like the kind of ride you can jump back into anytime because it never loses its spark. So, there you have it. 30 linear games that prove you don't always need an open world to have an amazing time. Which of these have you played, and which one are you adding to your playlist right now? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button if you enjoyed, and don't forget to subscribe for more awesome gaming lists. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.